Jay. Sorry if the quality is really bad. I'm just doing this in my room, and yeah, it's pretty late at night. So I'll just get right into it. What makes a poem good? There are some common features of poems that are considered by critics to be great. These include how a poem grapples the philosophical questions of the age, how the poem adheres or not to established poetic forms, and how clever the poem is in its use of literary devices such as irony, metaphor, and allusions. But none of these factors truly encapsulates the overall holistic impact of a great poem. Poetry is, above all, an art form. Perhaps the most important quality of all is a strong and distinctive voice that can conjure a brand new world, but obviously anyone's personal enjoyment from a poem is a highly subjective question. The best poem ever written is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. The Road Not Taken has confused audiences literally from the beginning. In the spring of 1915, Robert Frost sent an envelope to English critic Edward Thomas that contained only one item, a draft of The Road Not Taken under the title Two Roads. According to Frost biographer Lawrence Thomas, Frost had been inspired to write the poem by Thomas's habit of regretting whatever path the pair took during their long walks in the New England countryside, an impulse that Frost equated from the romantic predisposition for crying over what might have been. Frost, Thompson writes, believed that his friend would take the poem as a gentle joke and would protest, "Stop teasing me." This poem has sparked debate, and when I read the poem, I didn't think it was that funny of a joke. So I'm just going to read the poem just so you can get a sense of what it is. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and one be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was so grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how the way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling you this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So firstly, his achievement in the poem The Road Not Taken is to bring these different uses of metaphor into play in a delightfully ironic balancing act. That is to say, the speaker solemnly uses the metaphor of the two roads to say one thing, while Frost is humorously uses the speaker as a metaphor to say something very different. The speaker is a solemn person who earnestly believes in a metaphor as a way of saying one thing in terms of another. The speaker uses the terms of a situation in nature to say something about himself and his life. That he has difficulty in making a choice, that he is regretfully certain that he will eventually be unhappy with the choice that he does make. When he first considers the two roads, he sees one with more difficult, perhaps even a bit menacing, and I quote, "It bent the undergrowth," and the other as being more pleasant, "It was grassy and wanted wear." Even in taking the second path, though, he reconsiders and sees them both as equally worn and equally covered with leaves. Changing his mind again, he believes that in the future he will look back and realize that he did not take the less traveled road after all, but regret with a sigh that the road turned out to have made all the difference in making his life unhappy. The speaker believes that in the future he will be haunted by this earlier moment when he made the wrong choice and by the unfulfilled potential of the road not taken. In conclusion, this poem was made to tease a great friend of his, yet it subliminally started a mass debate of what the meaning behind it was. The author is so good at this hidden message that it's astonishing. That being said, my personal view behind it is that the lonely choice that was made earlier by our traveling narrator maybe wasn't all that significant, since both roads were pretty much the same anyway. Had worn them really about the same, is a quote that I'd use to describe that, and it is only in remembering and retelling that it made a difference. We are left to ponder if the narrator had instead traveled down the road not taken, might it have also made a difference as well. Therefore, in a sense, The Road Not Taken tears apart the traditional view of individualism.